Now, this is where I get into the boring aspect. We want plants that are not endangered easily. There's a lot of plants that's really hard to endanger. I mean, ask anybody who's got a great lawn about dandelion. Can't get rid of that stuff, right? You can dig it up, and their roots remain in the ground, so the plant's going to come back. It's also true of blackberry. I fought blackberry in my backyard for years and years, and I finally had it contained to a corner, but I would go back there every year and start coming up and dig up the roots, and I could never get the roots completely out. But blackberry is everywhere, and you can't get rid of this stuff. So if you want to wildcraft some blackberry, wildcraft dandelion. Yarrow is another one. Yarrow is not as common as dandelion, but it's really hard to eradicate. I mean, you can find a patch of yarrow in the yard, you can mow it with your lawnmower, and it's going to come back. It'd be better just to clip off the top. It doesn't take very much yarrow to make a tincture to get you through the winter for, fevers, for example. Nettles is one of my favorite. There's areas in the woods around here where it seems like there's acres of nettles, and you can go in with a shopping bag, fill it up, and it doesn't even look like you've been there. And believe me, a shopping bag full of nettles is a lot of nettles. You can make tinctures, you can cook it up fresh like a spinach. You can dry it and make tea out of it. And even if it's easy to find a place. There's so much of it, it's hard to impact it. And this is another plant, it's a perennial, and you just cut off the tops, and it bifurcates, stays short, and it gets bushy. So when you harvest it, you're actually creating more of it, which is really cool. I mean, I've gone back to places where I've harvested nettles, and I've gone back and, this is where I was, because I can see that the plants are shorter, and they've set out other branches, right? So that's one aspect of being responsible for an area. When you find an area where you find a lot of something, then you can go back and tend it like it's your own garden, even if it's 25 miles into the woods somewhere. Like I said, being a boring herbalist. Now this is something that Paul Berger, who's a local teacher and author and herbalist, he's been around doing herbalism for 40 years. He likes to say provocative things when he lectures, and he starts saying, he encourages everybody to be a boring herbalist, and by that he means just use the simple, common, everyday plants that are around you, that are abundant. We have a great fortune to be in an area where there's probably 100 different medicinal herbs and edible mushrooms and medicinal mushrooms growing in the woods around us. And when you learn to identify them, suddenly you see them everywhere. Whereas before, all you were seeing was weeds. Of course, growing things in your garden is also a very good idea. It's not exactly wildcrafting, but growing plants in pots on the patio or sowing them in flower beds is also a very good idea. So, tips for responsible wildcrafting. Really, it comes down to showing respect for nature and not treating nature as though it's your supermarket. Someone's harvesting a bolete mushroom. They're up right now, and they're very tasty. So you start asking yourself some questions before you do anything. Do you really need the herb? Is there a substitute that's abundant that does the exact same thing or similar to the herb that you're looking for? A good example, golden seal, which has been a concern to herbalists for being endangered going back at least 100 years. But here in Oregon, we have Oregon grapefruit. And although people are keeping their eye on it, when I go out into the forest in certain areas, Oregon grape is everywhere. It's used as an ornamental. When I drive around, you see it next to the street. So Oregon grape at this point is a very good substitute for golden seal, which is endangered. Now, of course, they're cultivating golden seal as well, so that's a good thing. Again, I was talking about harvesting the perennials. You can harvest them without killing the plant. So that's a great thing. But you have to know the species and how it grows. So don't kill the plant. If it's going to kill the plant, I think it's a good idea to find a substitute. In the forest around here, there's a couple of plants that are really good herbs. There's the Pacific Blue Heart, which in some spots I found is really abundant, but I can't find it any place else. So even though there's a lot of it in one spot, I won't harvest it because that's the only place I know it grows. What's another one? Beetroot. Grows a lot in the forest around here, but you have to take the root as well. And if I was going to harvest it, I've learned from Michael Moore that you can also use the leaves of the plant, so you can stretch the roots. So this is the kind of thing that a responsible herbalist needs to know when you're going out to harvest things. How much of the plant can you use? What parts of the plant? What can you trim it and let it live? In most cases, yes. The place where I harvest nettles is huge, and it's impossible to have any impact. And I've never seen anybody else there that I don't know harvesting them, but 2 other people know of this place. It's not that difficult to get to. But I've never seen anybody else there harvesting nettles. I've never seen signs of anybody else being there. So that's really a great spot for harvesting nettles, for example.